Bumisita sa PTV Sports si two-time Olympian Stephen Fernandez para ibahagi ang kanyang taekwondo journey at mga pagbabago na nangyari dito. Panoorin niyo ito.
Welcome to Sports Chat. For this episode, we have a very special guest, an Olympian, an icon in the world of Taekwondo. Please welcome Mr. Stephen Fernandez.
Hello, Brian. It's a pleasure to be on your show, and good day to all the televiewers.
Yeah, Master Pen, before we were just talking on Zoom. Ngayon, parang rin tayo nag-Zoom, kaya lang face-to-face tayo ngayon.
Oo, dahil matagal tayo nag-Zoom. And in fact, this is the first time na face-to-face ulit tayo nagkasama sa ganitong pagkakataon.
So, for the benefit of the viewers, kasi not all know that you're an Olympian.
Yes.
You did it on 2 occasions. Can you run us through that again?
I first, of course, represented the country prior to the Olympics in the Southeast Asian Games, the Asian Championships, and of course my alma mater, De La Salle University. And that paved the way for me and my teammate, brother, Monsieur De La Salle, to represent the country in the first staging of Taekwondo, and in 1988 in Seoul, the land where it all began. And then later on, I was able to go back and eventually bring home a medal in 92 in Barcelona. That famous games where they shot the arrow to the flame, to light the flame.
The Taekwondo's evolved into something different. It's bigger now. I mean, before, like I was telling you earlier, most of the gyms were just, siguro sabihin natin, in Manila. Manila lang. Pero ngayon, umaabot sa provinces, di ba? Yung sinabi mo.
Yes, that's true, no? Unlike before, talagang concentrated yung mga varsity players, national team members in Metro Manila. But because of the program since the 80s to the present, naging very diverse ngayon yung pag-develop ng Taekwondo. In fact, many of our national, international champions have come from the different provinces, from Luzon to Mindanao. So it's very big now, especially pagdating sa not just sparring, but even in Pumse. There's a lot of following now in Pumse. And of course, hindi mawawala yung kyurugi or sparring.
You, I, and Monsieur were discussing the differences between them. Dati, kumbaga, how would you call that? Very physical tayo.
Yes.
1 point is 1 point. But I understand now it's a lot different. I'm surprised to find out that there are kicks that can reward any fighter 5 points, am I right?
Yes, kasi nung panahon natin, again, not too long ago, ang scoring was talagang by point, no? Just 1 or 2 points. But the game has evolved, especially being admitted into the Olympic Games. It has to be very transparent and safe. That's why na-develop yung electronic scoring system wherein the players' scores are determined by the sensors on their chest and their feet. And then, of course, it passes through the computer system to generate the score. So we have scoring now, tama ka, Brian, from 1 point to 5 points. So if you punch, it is 1 point. And now if you kick to the body, 45 or roundhouse kick to the body, it's 2 points, which is only 1 point before. And then ngayon, of course, ang head kicks is 3 points. A turning kick to the body, which is only 1 point before, is now 4 points. And a turning kick to the head, you can be given 5 points. So talagang ano na, very, kumbaga, they want it to be for the audience, spectator sport.
With the scoring system, kasi I know before, ang uso nun para matapos yung laban kaagad, knockout.
Knockout.
Di ba? Or you do something na mahilo yung kalaban mo. Is the frequency of that these days different?
Well, before there were more knockouts during the 80s and the 90s. But the world really has caught up, and the sport has really improved the level of skill of the different players. So meron pa rin, but not as high as before. Because the players today are well conditioned. Of course, there are more protective equipment around their bodies, their heads, their feet. Unlike before, wala namang gloves, walang rubber mats, walang headgears. So now it's very safe, so it lessened that. But minsan, hindi mo maiwasan. It does happen, but very rare na lang.
Top players before, well, maybe up to now, who was the toughest one that you faced in competitions?
Many. From my seniors, I would say Arnold Barade and Mike Ventosa were very tough to compete against. And I learned from them because they were playing in lighter weights, but they were more experienced when I came into the team. And when I got into the team, medyo talagang sasabihin ko nahirapan na rin ako later on. Of course, we have naging teammates ko, Bobby Vargas, Dean Vargas, Jun Lopez. These were the top fighters of our time during the time na naglalaro kami. And sabi ko nga, biruan namin, we train together, we run together. But pagdating ng mga 1 week, hindi na kami nag-uusap before the competition. But after the game, all things are normal again. Joking around, playing around, going out together for lunch, having a drink after. So, ganun lang.
Does that explain why it was so easy for Bea Lucero? Gymnastics siya before to transition to Taekwondo.
Yes, Bea naman, when she entered the team, she had already all that discipline in her. She was already fit as an athlete, as a gymnast. And what our grandmaster had to teach her na lang was the technical skill of Taekwondo, learning the basic kicks, how to apply this into a point situation. So ganon. So she was very determined when we were playing and competing and training together. That's why si Bea really, kumbaga I would say, created that big awareness that female Taekwondo jins are also, kumbaga, the female in the Filipino population can excel. So, nung nag-taekwondo siya, dumami talaga yung mga kababaihan natin na nag-taekwondo.
Again, you mentioned mga kababaihan. Nung time natin, hirap na hirap tayo pag tayo ng women's team before.
Yes.
Was that the time na nag-change siya when Bea came into the picture?
When Bea came in, well, before naman she came in, we had a national team already of composed of women. But when she came in, and of course she won medals for the country, more became interested because they thought before that Taekwondo would only be suitable for men. And yun pala, hindi. And despite that, the women can look very gracious and very artistic when they move and execute those different Taekwondo movements.
Hey, Master Fen, before we end, I'd like to get your final words.
Okay. Of course, Brian, Sir Brian, again, maraming salamat sa pag-imbita mo sa akin dito sa show. Matagal na tayo magkaibigan, mag-teammate, and nakakataba ng puso na hindi mo ako nakakalimutan all this time and all these years. So I thank you for this opportunity, and I hope to be back on your show.
Of course.
And of course, to share to all the Taekwondo practitioners out there. For me, ituloy lang nila ang dream of excelling in the sport and keep the spirit alive always.